Xbox record that. I thought of a pretty good bit where I would record this entire video on an Xbox Connect, but unfortunately, I thought of that idea 2 minutes before I started recording. So it is no secret that the Xbox One was the generation or the console that really killed the consumer's trust in Xbox. Mostly, primarily because of the controversy regarding always being online, used game DDRM, and just the Connect, as I mentioned before earlier. So there's a whole lot that was really going wrong for Xbox in this generation. But I'm pretty fond about the Xbox One. I think that a good amount of the console, or like a good bit of the console, has some redeeming qualities, especially towards the later half of the cycle. So I do have a sizable amount of Xbox One games, and I'm excited to dig through all of them and just kind of go through memory lane a little bit. There are some games where it's like I did have these in childhood, particularly the sports titles, but everything else is kind of newer, or I guess like new to me stuff that I'm really interested in. So without further ado, first up, I've got Marvel Avengers. So the thing about Marvel Avengers is that it should have been a slam dunk. It should have been an easy money, cash in the bank, just straight up. I actually think this game might have sold well. Don't quote me on that, but like it was not received well at all. And then they added Spider-Man to it, and this was kind of seen by the gaming populace as like this is a very desperate move because Spider-Man did not play well in this game at all. And I think Spider-Man um, 2017, or like Spider-Man for PS4, already came out by that point, so people already had a good Spider-Man game to compare that to, and so people are like, "This is not. It's not hitting." But I do want to try out Marvel Avengers eventually. It was pretty cheap, pretty solid price. So I was like, might as well get it on Xbox. And I guess one thing I do want to mention about how I view the Xbox One and the Series X from a collecting standpoint is that if a game is on Series X physically, I'm going to most likely get it there. Like if it's third party, primarily because I feel like if I didn't, my Series X collection would be kind of like very bare bones. It's like my PS5 collection is probably has less games in it um, than my Xbox Series X collection, or at least it has the same amount. Primarily because like stuff like Expedition 33, Penny's Big Breakaway, Persona 5 Royal, I have them on the Series X. But that's for the Series X video. It's not for now. So let's just continue to jump through it, even though some of that applies to the Xbox One. So I've got the Batman Arkham Collection. Now this is a European copy, as you can see through the PEGI rating. So I'm not sure if it will work on my United States branded Xbox One, but I do have the Batman Arkham Collection, and I have the Arkham games across a variety of platforms now at this point. So it's really just pick or choose. But I thought having all of them on like one disc would be a really cool thing. And if I can or can't play this, honestly, I'd be down if people could let me know in the comments below whether or not that's the case. But if I can't play this, then it's really no harm, no foul. I have the Arkham games throughout so many different platforms that this wasn't really 100% necessary. Battlefield 1, I might combine all the Battlefield games into one section, but uh, Battlefield as a series has always interested me because it has its fans. It's quite popular, as we can see, because Battlefield 6, I think, outsold Call of Duty Black Ops 7 or whatever the latest Call of Duty was, which was surprising to me. But I really want to get more into Battlefield, or at least touch Battlefield like once, just so I could be like, all right, like I'm familiar now with this franchise. Like, let me just continue to move on. So Battlefield, I know that there's some games that people feel positive about. That's why I got as many Battlefield games as I possibly could on the Xbox. But yeah, Battlefield alongside Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield 5. And so I've got Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, another collection through the Xbox. It's got Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and Borderlands 2. I don't know what the pre-sequel is, okay, here's the thing. The way the title is phrased, I'm like, oh, okay, this is Borderlands 1. Like, I would have felt like they would have just called Borderlands 1 Borderlands. and they did call Borderlands Borderlands. I don't know, is the pre-sequel like a remaster of the first one? I feel like, please let me know in the comments below like what that actually is. But I've got both these games on this collection, and I'm a sucker for on the disc, 1, 2 type games where it's like um, everything is compact. The Sly Cooper collection is how I play the Sly games for like a solid amount of time before I finally got the physical original games back again. So I love collection discs. So hopefully, when I get around to playing Borderlands, either I will play it on an individual disc like I own, or I will play through the collection. But I might play through the collection solely because I can jump easily from 1 to 2 if I do enjoy one enough, right? Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, this game I got because it was pretty sentimental for me in terms of the Xbox One reveal. During the reveal, there's a lot of sports, TV, sports, television, sports, television, TV, television, sports, television, sports. Xbox is going to become the next water cooler. But in the midst of all that garbage, there was Call of Duty Ghosts. And Call of Duty Ghosts was a game that I was mad interested in because this is during my Call of Duty phase where I was a youngin', I was in middle school, I wanted to play Call of Duty so bad. So I was like, yo, please, 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 if I get an Xbox One, I got to find a way to touch this game. And so that's why I have Call of Duty Ghosts, even though I don't think it's really that um, prevalent of a game in the Call of Duty sphere. But again, I could be wrong. But yeah, this is definitely a sentimental pick. This one I've got Code Vein. Now, this game looked really interesting to me before Code Vein 2 got revealed. After Code Vein 2 got revealed, I was like, oh, okay, this feels like this needs to shoot back up into my radar because a couple YouTubers I watch were streaming it, and I was like, wow, I really feel like I got to get into Code Vein, or at least like touch Code Vein to see if I really rock with it or not. But I am excited to eventually get to Code Vein. I know nothing about this game aside from the fact that I think it's an RPG. So I'm really, really stoked to one day jump in. That's how I've got Darksiders 3. Now I already had Darksiders 1, then I had Darksiders 2, and so I saw they came out with Darksiders 3 on the Xbox One. This gives off the aura of a game that kills the franchise, right? Or more so a game where it's like, all right, like this is the last one. Just off of just kind of I don't know. Like I just look at the cover and I'm like, I feel like they're like, oh yeah, like we can just wrap it up here. Like I just the font of that 3, like my vibe radar, it's vibe based. I don't know what else to tell you. So it's sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. But if Darksiders 3 is really good, please let me know in the comments below and correct me because I would love to get into the Darksiders franchise and to know that all 3 games are peak before I start. Would be kind of cool. Would be kind of cool. And so I've got Dark Souls Remastered. I have gotten this close to plugging in this game so many times because I have been itching to get to Dark Souls. Just any Dark Souls game. People say Dark Souls 2 sucks. That's whatever because again, it's from software, so I imagine like their version of sucks isn't really like that bad. But again, it's like an early FromSoft game, so maybe it is. I don't know. But like, I'm really excited to eventually get to Dark Souls, and I feel like the remaster is a really good way to like actually jump into that. But I'm not entirely sure. So people say this has a very bad Switch version, Switch port, and I'm really on it to believe them because I don't know. It just I don't know. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into Dark Souls through the remaster. Next up, I've got Destiny: The Taken King. I've played Destiny before, actually. It was one of the first games that my brother got with his Xbox One. And so I decided to also play a little bit of the copy of Destiny that he got with it. And I liked it a lot, actually. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But I didn't really feel the draw to get back to it because it was my first person shooter game. So I was like, it's whatever. So Destiny kind of holds a little bit of a special place in my heart because that I don't know if the Taken King is like just the expansion pack and like this is pretty much a worthless copy sitting in my collection, but who knows, man? All I know is that I like Destiny. That's all I know. And so I've got Doom Eternal. Now, I've been interested in the Doom franchise since it was ported over to the Switch back in like 2017, 2018. I think that was 2018. Back in 2018 when it was ported over to the Switch. So I'm really, really excited to eventually get to the Doom series and hopefully Doom Eternal is my first entry in there. The early Doom games don't really interest me that much, just because of how they look. But Doom Eternal has been a game where I've looked at and gone like, that might be it, man. That really, really might be it. Um, yeah, Fallout 4, baby. Now, I'm a little confused, okay? Because around the time the Fallout 4 came out, I thought people were mixed on this game. People might still be mixed on this game. But I feel like a lot more people have come around to Fallout 4. At the game store that I work at, a lot more people are buying Fallout 4, which is really interesting. And I feel like it's probably the most popular entry in the franchise. Popular in the sense of like notable, as opposed to New Vegas. I feel like New Vegas, in terms of reception, is the more popular entry, but Fallout 4 has a lot of clout, even to the point where it's getting ported to the Switch too, which I wish it was low-key a New Vegas port, but it's whatever, though. It is what it is. I've never played New Vegas or 4, but I'm more interested in trying New Vegas, if that makes any sense. But I do want to try out 4, solely because of the trends I'm seeing. Hopefully it's going to be a really good entry into that. It's I already know Fallout's whole vibe being that apocalyptic RPG in a sense. So I'm really excited to eventually get to Fallout 4. Final Fantasy 15. Now, a friend of mine had called this game like basically just, the traveling boy band RPG. And I guess that makes sense just looking at the cover. I think I saw one clip where they were like eating at a diner or something, but like Final Fantasy has always interested me. I've played 10, I've played 7. Um, oh, that's it. I've just played 10 and 7. So I'm really excited to eventually play 15, right? Or at least like maybe touch it, but it won't be like very soon, because the Final Fantasies I really want to get to soon are going to be 16, 9, 4, 6, and maybe 1. I'd probably say like those are like the 5. So like 15 is really down there on that list, unless people are like this and say, oh, and 10 too. But yeah, it's really down there. So, but hopefully, you know, maybe I'm in the mood for a traveling boy band RPG. You never know. You never know. Speaking of Final Fantasy, we've got Final Fantasy Type Zero HD. I was like, is that Type 5? Or it's like, okay. Yeah, so I don't really know what this game's deal is. I was like, this is a Final Fantasy game I had never heard of when I saw it in the store. And I was like, I think I'm gonna get this and try this out. This was like $5, so I was like, oh, okay, like bet. I have not gotten a chance to try it out yet. Any Final Fantasy fans, please let me know what you think about this game, because it seems like something that like would be talked about more. I think it has like a class system in a way, and it's like I don't know. It's just it looks kind of cool. So, but I've heard no one talk about it, so I'm a little hesitant. Right, I'm a little hesitant, but it's in the library. If people or if I more so I'm up to it. Forza Motorsport 5, another game that I was really excited to jump into when I was younger, right? And I think I played the demo, or I played it like at I remember now. I played it at like one of those you know demo kiosks that they have at like Walmart and Target. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, because I never played like a racing game that was not Mario Kart. So just kind of something along those lines, that was a lot more realistic, was really hitting for me. Actually, that's a lie. I played Ford versus Chevy when I was like younger, but that's like a very obscure, not good racing game. So playing something like Forza is like, it was like giving a Victorian child crack. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like insane. So the moment I finally got an Xbox One, this was one of the first games I was like, I really gotta jump on this. Finally, get Forza Motorsport 5. I've played a little bit of the recent Forza game. I think it was like Forza, either the recent Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizons, like 7 or something. But yeah, I like Forza a lot, and I'm glad that I finally got that. I haven't played that game yet. Um, Shocker, I know. Yeah, you guys already know me. So I haven't played that game yet, but I'm really, really excited to eventually get to Forza Motorsport 5. It's going to be awesome. Speaking of games that are going to be really awesome when I get to them, Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 has this almost mythical aura in the community where so many people have been like, oh, like Kingdom Hearts 3, excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. It almost had kind of the same air as like almost like the Final Fantasy 7 remake, like GTA 6, to to an extent, not the exact same way, right? But like people were like, oh, like when are we getting Kingdom Hearts 3? When are we getting Kingdom Hearts 3? Now it's when are we getting Kingdom Hearts 4? When are we getting Kingdom Hearts 4? And I think Kingdom Hearts 4 might have the longer wait time, actually, even though Kingdom Hearts, well, this came out in 2020, I think, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2000, like, or something. I generally forget. So like, I think it was like a decade plus gap, like maybe like 15, 16 years. But either way, Kingdom Hearts 3 is just this legendary video game off of its lead up alone, right? I don't think people liked it as much as the lead up would have made you think they would have, but I still think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a game that's, I'm really excited to jump into eventually. And I think it will satisfy my expectations off of the bit that I've played of one that I really enjoyed. So, Halo 5. Talk about really disappointing games. Also had really legendary lead ups. Halo 5 was a game that I remember being like, oh, like I'm excited for when this comes out because I'm also just I'm a person who gets excited for things that other people are excited for. So I saw people getting excited for Halo 5 and I was like, oh man, like I hope when this comes out, this thing is dope and it's super good and super cool. And then Halo 5 came out and people were like, ah, this kind of sucks. So I was like, ah man. But I still got it because, as I mentioned before, my relationship with Halo, like I still look upon this series very fondly. So I'm really excited to eventually do the campaigns of these games and then jump into something like a Halo 5 and see whether or not it was mid or it was actually pretty good. So, because I can't really trust the internet's opinion on it unless I play it for myself. That's always been my point of view, but I'm never going to take the internet's opinion and just proclaim it as my own. I'm always going to go, the internet says this. I don't know anything about that though, so but I'm just letting you know that the internet says this. So that's what the streets are saying. So, but yeah, Halo 5, man. Speaking of, I got Halo Wars 2. So the original Halo Wars, I think, came out on the 360. So this is like a sequel to that. But I've never heard anyone talk about Halo Wars 2. Um, it looks a little bit like Doom. That's really all I have to say about that. It's also got the definitive edition of Halo Wars, so that's pretty cool. At least, man, we've got a ton of highly anticipated games right here. Mega Man 11. Now, Mega Man 11. My brother absolutely loves this game. Right, point blank. He's like, this is phenomenal. Oscar, you got to play this, and I've not played it yet, but I've played like a good amount, like a good chunk of the game and I played the demo when it came out, right? And I was like, "Yep, this is Mega Man. It's pretty good." So I guess some context for my Mega Man background and history. I played two and I beat two, and I was like, "All right, solid." Again, if we're just being transparent here, this is a safe space, right? It's my channel. Yeah, it's my channel, so it's a safe place. Um, I did that with save states. All right, okay. I did that with save states. I had an NES emulator running on my really busted up laptop, and I was like, I'm going to play a Mega Man game. I played one, and I was like, this is really hard. Then I played two, and I was like, okay, there we go. So I played and beat two, and then I think I tried out four and like six, but like I was like, like it's just. But I love two, so I was like, okay, like this is cool. I played X. I didn't finish X, but I played X, and yeah, the Mega Man games are something that I more so just have to sit down and really get to. Every single time I'm in the mood for a Mega Man game, I'm in the mood for a Mega Man game for like an hour, and then I'm like, I'm done. So I really want to jump into Mega Man 11 primarily because it feels like the more modern Mega Man experience, like classic Mega Man experience. So that's something that I want to get a taste of. Speaking of modern Mega Man experiences, yeah, we got it. Mighty Number Nine. So let me tell a story about Mighty Number Nine and how I feel about Mighty Number Nine. I pre-ordered Mighty Number Nine. Yeah, I know. Yep. I pre-ordered Mighty Number Nine. I pre-ordered it on Steam, and I got it day one, right? And that was around the time. This was like must have been 2015. That Steam was rolling out its refund policy. It's hey, like if you don't play like a certain amount of this game, like you have to only play less than a certain amount of hours in a game, and then you'll be eligible for a refund, right? If you like play like 10 minutes and you're like, oh, this game is just not for me, then you can refund that, right? Or if you play like an hour, I think there was a controversy where someone beat Sonic Forces in like less than 2 hours or something, and like they refunded the game. And people were like, "Oh, this is immoral, blah blah blah." But like, it's so funny too because I remember around that time I also thought the same thing. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is kind of like wrong," but it's because I like Sonic Forces, and so like it was kind of a little bit of that combination of like they're dunking on Sonic Forces, plus they're like taking advantage of Steam, and I was like, but now if you asked me, I would have been like, I really don't care that much. I think it's kind of funny, but I refunded Mighty Number Nine because I played it and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I like this actually. And I was gun ho about it. I was like, we are going to jump in here. I'm so excited. I set aside time. Mighty Number Nine was one of my most anticipated games. I was keeping up with development. Dude, I loved Mighty Number Nine. The concept of Mighty Number Nine. I loved the idea of Mighty Number Nine. But turns out I did not actually love Mighty Number Nine. So I got the game again on Xbox solely for the sentimental value and reason for it. But hopefully later on, I give it another shot, and maybe I find out I was too harsh on it, and there was some good stuff going here. The cool thing about Mighty Number Nine too is that I played Mighty Gun Vault Burst, and Mighty Gun Vault Burst is probably one of like my favorite indie games of all time. Like one of my favorite Switch games of all time, solely because of the amount of fun I have just off of picking up and playing it. I haven't beaten it, but I love just picking it up and playing it from time to time. And I did a lot of that back in 2017, 2018 when it first came out. So Mighty Number Nine kind of has a positive interaction or experience attached to him in the gaming sphere of my head. But the actual original Mighty Number Nine game, it's it's not good. NASCAR Heat 5. So I got this primarily because I was interested in what a modern NASCAR game would look like. I know there was a ton of them, in the PS2 era, original Xbox era, NASCAR Thunder or whatever. And the thing with NASCAR in general is that I think I mentioned this before in a video, but like I used to want to get into NASCAR. The concept of NASCAR has always interested me. If someone put on a NASCAR race right now, I probably would pay attention to a good amount of it. So NASCAR in general was something where I was like, oh, okay, I am interested in this thing, right? So I kind of got it just as an experiment to see what a modern NASCAR game would look like, but I haven't gotten to it yet, right? And I think one thing I want to say, like going on a little bit of a tangent, is that I think I want to do a little bit more of trying out those games where it's like I don't need to like complete the campaign for NASCAR Heat 5, right? Like I can boot up this game and try it out for like 30 minutes to an hour and be like, oh, okay, like I've tried this game out and actually have something to say. So that's something I'm trying to do a little bit more of a better job at. When we get to my GameCube collection, there's a GameCube game that there was one night I was like, you know what? Let's try this one. I actually do want to try this one. So I'm excited to do that with NASCAR Heat 5 eventually. So I think it will be soon. I think it will be soon. This game I'm about to show you right now is probably one of my favorite, not probably, it is one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 50. Um, and it honestly came at such a transformative point in my life that I'm actually very excited to share a little bit about this game. And it is NBA 2K16. Now, 2K fans know that NBA 2K16 is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, 2K game of all time. Some people say 2K11 because of the Michael Jordan mode and, kind of having a very robust My Career. But this was the very first My Career that was directed by Spike Lee. I don't think he directed 15s, but if he did, someone please correct me. But this was the very first My Career that was directed by Spike Lee. Some people are a little iffy on whether or not the story was actually good, but it's memorable for that at least. Freak, FOF. I'm a friend of Freak. The frequency vibrations. I'm sorry. It's just this this game came around a time where I was really getting into the NBA, right? And the NBA has really made a positive impact on my life solely because it came around a time where I was going through a lot, right? And I kind of got a new hobby in the sense of watching the NBA and basketball as a whole, and it changed everything, man. I was like 14 when I got into the NBA, and I was looking up like, oh, like, is there still time? I want to let everyone know, if you probably couldn't tell off however the height calculations of these shelves, but I'm like 5'7", 5'6", so like 5'7", 5'8", 5'7", 5'8". So I'm 5'7", 5'8", right? And the thing about being in the NBA is that you're absolutely cooked. It's like one, you don't start early, and two, you're not a decently sized guy, right? Add on to the fact that I suck at basketball, and the odds were completely stacked against me. But it was still one of those moments where I was like, I really am digging basketball. I'm really digging the vibes. The story lines in the league were really big around that time. And growing up, I was also a LeBron fan, but more so a LeBron fan because I'm literally from Cleveland. So I was like, oh, okay, like it is what it is. But I really actually was a fan of the Cavs, right? And so 2K16 was a game that I sunk a ton of hours into. It's my career. Anytime I wanted to live out those hoop dreams, I would hop on my career. I dropped 80. I was on the Timberwolves. I always remember that. I was on the Timberwolves. I was a shooting guard. The character I made was mad ugly, mad ugly. I would always try and get as close as I could to myself. And 2K would always have that app where like you could scan your face and like it didn't work. I think that was introduced in 17 or 18, but it wasn't in 16. So I just had to go fresh off the dome with the character creation. But yeah, I was man, it was insane, man. I love 2K16. To kind of stop this from being the 2K16 video and ranting too much, all I would say is that this game genuinely probably uh, changed my life. Like it had a pretty huge impact on my life, is what I should say. Um, and I'll always love 2K16 for that. So, um, salute. Yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time on it, so it just kind of the end of it. But we're gonna run through a couple 2Ks. 2K17 is also another game that very similar vibes off of it. This was when I was like, all right, I'm a basketball fan, I'm a 2K fan, so I got this very close to day one. Was really excited to try it out. I like 2K17. 2K17 has a little bit more of a mixed perception online than other 2K games, but I actually like 2K17, and I think that it was a worthy addition. I think some people are starting to come around on that, but it is what it is. Actually, it's actually kind of funny. I had a dream like recently where 2K25 got like a 95 on Metacritic, which is weird because like the game came out like a year ago, so I was like, this is odd. But yeah, I think 2K17 was well received when it came out, so I felt the need to kind of share that, I guess. Um, but I guess I also want to mention too is that I have another copy of 2K17. So I have two copies, primarily because I forgot that I even had the first one. So now I've got two copies of 2K17 chilling in my collection. I would get rid of one of them, but like these things trade in for like 10 cents nowadays, so I don't even bother. I'm like, okay, I guess I have two copies of 2K17 now. And next up, I've got 2K19. For some reason, I don't have 2K18. I played 2K18 for sure, but I think I might have played it like on Switch or something. Which insane place to play a 2K game because it looked really bad. But I was more so surprised that it was even on Switch to begin with. But 2K19 wasn't bad, I don't think. I like the Legendary Edition of this cover, primarily because of the whole like, the cover athlete, and then around them is like different like phrases that like really represent who they are. I like that aspect of it, which is a weird thing to say that you like an aspect of a 2K game. But 2K covers actually is a kind of debated topic in the 2K sphere. 2K26's cover, I think is fine, if I'm being honest. I like the mellow version of that cover more than the shade cover. 2K25's was also whatever. I think the Booker cover was really good. That cover, I was like, all right, like they cooked with that one. But it felt like the recent 2K covers are just kind of like they're not really trying that much. I like the Luca one. The Zion one is okay, but it leans a little more on the side of like I like it than I dislike it. But the recent ones, I'm like, this is okay, and it leans a little bit more on the I am indifferent slash I dislike it side of it. I don't know. But yeah, 2K19. I admittedly don't really remember that much about this entry, but I think it was okay. I think it was okay. Quantum Break. Time is power, man. I know nothing about this game. I think it has a TV show that it goes alongside. It's an Xbox One console exclusive, so that's pretty cool. I think that's Chris Pratt. I don't know. Is that Chris Pratt? I don't know. I think that is. But yeah, I think some people said this is pretty solid actually. So again, like If people play Quantum Break, let me know. But I have nothing to say about that game, and I think I got it late because I kind of heard whispers of it being good. But if it's not good, then I guess it will sit. So as I've got Rise Son of Rome, as we I've talked about Xbox games that have came out around the Xbox One's launch that people were really excited for. Rise Son of Rome was one of those games that I was really excited for because I was like, this looks really cool. So again, as I mentioned before in my 360 video, there was a time where people would just buy games because they were like, this looks really cool. So I was like, I still think this looks really cool. Like 10, 11 years later, I still think this looks really cool. So I'm getting it. So yeah, I'm excited to eventually touch Rise Son of Rome for a little bit. I don't expect to actually like the game, which is unfortunate, but you know, who knows? Maybe I could be proven wrong. Who knows? Who knows? And so I've got Skyrim. Now you already know I own Skyrim across every single platform that Skyrim is on. I own it on PS3. I own it on PS4. I don't own it on PS5 yet, but I do own it on 360 and Xbox One. So Skyrim is one of those games where it's like I got to get it on everything, man. It's for the bit. It's for the bit. I've already talked about Skyrim in length, so I think I'm just going to skip through this one. Soul Calibur 6. Now, talk about a game that I'm like, okay, this really looks like it's not good. Like, this looks like it actually killed the franchise. Because the Soul Calibur series used to be on top, right? Soul Calibur 1, I think, sits at like a 99 or a 98 at Metacritic. And I learned that, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And so I went out and bought Soul Calibur, and I was like, this is a really good fighting game. Then I bought Soul Calibur 2, and I was like, this is a really good fighting game. And that one's also like a 99, 98 at Metacritic. And so you have like your first two entries be like 99, 98s on Metacritic, and then like you fall off a cliff. It's kind of weird. But I do believe that Soul Calibur 2 is a little more popular nowadays for being a game that has guest characters in it than being a good fighting game. Like at least that's what its legacy feels like to people that are a little more my age, like in that Gen Z bracket. They're like, okay, like Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube is that game with Link in it. Like that was what it was known as to me before I learned like, oh wow, these are actually really good fighting games. So yeah. Um is Soul Calibur 6 good? Please, if you are a Soul Calibur fan, just let me know so I can kind of rip the band-aid off of that because I get disappointed when I see like the first two games of a series like be at this like super high level and then like look at the latest entry and it's just dog. So I've got Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the Xbox One. I enjoyed the Battlefront remake. I thought it was pretty solid. That was the first in my first introduction into Battlefront. So I eventually got Battlefront 2, and I haven't played Battlefront 2. I don't think. Actually, no, I have. I have. I literally did the cover, and I was like, I think I have actually. But it was a long time ago. It was around the time again it launched. But I really am not a Star Wars person, so there's not much to like I cared for when Battlefront came out. Um, but yeah, overall, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. So, um, and yeah, that sealed new copy too was also like okay, like this is another bonus on top of getting that. So, I've got Sunset Overdrive. I was really interested in this game when it came out. People say this game is really good. It's really solid, and it's an Insomniac game on the Xbox One, which I'm like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, Sunset Overdrive. Definitely want to get to this for sure. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, another Xbox One game that I have played, and I played it around the time that it came out. It was my first introduction into Tomb Raider. I was like, whoa, Tomb Raider's pretty cool. So I'm really excited to eventually play like kind of like the other Tomb Raider post remake stuff and really dig into some of that. But yeah, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition was a solid game. Um, I played it again like when I was 14 or 15. So not much I remember about it. I'm just keep it a bean. Next up, I've got Watch Dogs. I think I have Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2, so I might just combine the two games. I've only played Watch Dogs. I haven't played 2. But Watch Dogs, when it came out, was another game that I was mad interested in when it came out because I was like, whoa, hacking into people's devices? That's kind of crazy. So I was like, let me just jump into this and see where it goes from there. And I had a blast playing Watch Dogs, but I didn't really progress like any main story or campaign, any quests or any objectives, I should say, in a game like this. I more so was just interested in going around hacking certain devices, looking at people's profiles, and spying on them, basically going full, Ellie from Mr. Robot. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good game. It was a good game solely because I had fun. So I can't attest to its world design, its story, even how well it does its core mechanics. All I can say is I had fun, and it's actually funny because I know a girl who doesn't play that many video games, and she was like, I love Watch Dogs, and so I was like, So it's one of those things where it's fun, man. It's fun. That's all I gotta say. It's fun. As I mentioned before, I got Watch Dogs too. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. People say this game is pretty solid. It's also really interesting to me because it's the first Xbox One game, I think, or the Xbox One game I have in my collection that is stylized like a Series X game, but it's only for Xbox One. People say this game is pretty solid. So I'm excited to eventually try it out. I think it's a spin-off from Borderlands. So that might give it some credence for me if I play Borderlands 1 and I enjoy it. But it's here. Probably not getting to it soon. But it's here. Titanfall, another game that I got around the time it released. Pretty sure I got around, or a friend had it. Scratch that. A friend had Titanfall. And I enjoyed my time at Titanfall. I thought this game was super dope and super cool. I didn't expect it to be good, but I really enjoyed Titanfall a lot. And it sucks because I think Titanfall is like locked to the Xbox One. I don't know. Someone correct me on that if that's not true. But really excited to eventually play Titanfall again, and hopefully make a couple more memories with it. Especially because this and two are both games that people say are really good, and I've got Titanfall 2. So if I do enjoy one a lot, again, I can hop into two. And finally, I've got The Witcher 3. Now, me personally, I'm not that interested in The Witcher 3. I think The Witcher 3 as a game, it's not that it's overrated, because again, I can't call a game overrated if I have not played it. But The Witcher 3 is a game that I look at it and I'm like, I don't really see what people see in it. But again, the people who probably talk about it very highly are the people who've actually played the game. So I do want to play the game solely because people have said this is one of the greatest games of all time. That's very high praise. I like to be very educated in terms of my gaming history and my gaming knowledge, and just be well versed. So I do want to eventually touch The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt one of these days. And I think Xbox is a good place to do that. So without further ado, or I guess to sum this all up, that is the Xbox One collection. Next time we'll be looking at the Series X collection. There are some games in there that are, back and forth. They swing both ways. So I'm really excited to eventually get into the Xbox Series X collection. And that will do it for the Xbox round of the collection. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.